What is going on, and welcome back to another video. Now today is the day that we have all been waiting for. Rebirth Island is finally back. Yes, they took out Vanguard Resurgence squads. They put back in Rebirth Island, which means after a long week, we are finally back on the island. So today I'm going to be answering questions that I've gotten from a lot of people in terms of what does it look like, what changes have they made to Rebirth. So let's go ahead and get into it. But first, comment hashtag Rebirth down in the comments below for the algorithm. So the format for today's videos, I'm going to be talking to you about things that they changed and things that you need to be aware of while rolling some gameplay in the background. As soon as I saw that Rebirth came out, I got on and dropped a 22 kill win. So I'm going to go ahead and roll that in the background. But first, make sure you are subscribed, that notification bell turned on down below. I do videos every day, just trying to help people get better at Warzone, specifically at Rebirth. So if you clicked on this video, you're clearly interested in Rebirth. Make sure you are subscribed down below. I'm a 4KD player. I just want to help you get better. Now, first up, I want to talk about the game mode and what the playlists actually look like moving forward. So this week, we have Rebirth Resurgence Trios. Now, unfortunately, they didn't give us quads, but hey, we're back on Rebirth Island, and we can still drop high kill wins in trios. Now, moving forward, the week of December 23rd, and this kind of gives us some insight into what they're going to be doing moving forward. Unfortunately, we have Rebirth Resurgence duos and Vanguard Resurgence quads. So we have an option of what we want to play moving forward, and then the week of the 30th, it flips. So we have Rebirth Resurgence quads and Vanguard Resurgence duos. So let's go ahead and jump into the biggest thing and the biggest question that everybody has been asking, which is, can you buy a loadout before the free one? And as you can see here, the answer is thankfully yes. We were all concerned that, similar to Vanguard Resurgence quads, you wouldn't be able to buy a loadout until you get the free one, which would have caused major issues on Rebirth. It probably would have just completely ruined Rebirth because you just have teams camping the loadouts the entire game. The good news is that you can buy a loadout at any time. So go ahead and drop in, collect that money, buy that loadout, and start to push teams. Which leads me to my next point. Let's talk about floor loot real quick. What is the floor loot on Rebirth right now? It is the exact same as Vanguard Resurgence quads. We're seeing a lot of the same guns. So basically, whatever you felt comfortable with on Vanguard Resurgence quads on Caldera, you can still use in Rebirth. So find out what you're comfortable with, find out what you can hit your shots with, and start to win that early game. Now, next up, let's talk about UAVs. UAVs are, again, the same. They're $6,000, which creates a little bit of an interesting dilemma in Rebirth. So much of Rebirth is about having UAVs up, figuring out where teams are. And a lot of buildings, or because people sit in buildings a lot of times, the UAVs really help with levels. So you're going to have to focus on cash flow, grabbing bounties, grabbing supply runs when you can. There's a ton of bounties on the map right now. So use that to your advantage. Keep bounties up. Obviously, you're going to run out at some point, but try to get as much cash flow going as possible. Keep those UAVs up because they are a little bit more expensive, especially early game. If you can get some UAVs up early game, get that momentum going, then you're going to be good to go. Now, I will say, in terms of floor loot, just something to be aware of that I noticed throughout this game is there is a lack of AR ammo on the ground. There's not as much, on Vanguard Resurgence quads on Caldera, we saw munitions boxes everywhere. I mean, you couldn't go anywhere without seeing one. Not as many on Rebirth, so you do have to be careful with your AR. I ran into problems here running the bar and the Cooper carbine. Running the double AR, it was a little bit tougher, so just something to keep in mind. It's doable. You saw here that it's doable, but you're going to have to be cognizant of that. So use the floor loot to your advantage. Obviously, keep UAVs up, focus on cash flow. And the last thing that I want to talk about is map changes. Are there any map changes? The answer is no. They gave us nothing. So I think the week off from Rebirth was just to try to integrate us into the Caldera map, introduce it, get everybody playing Caldera, try their best to kind of keep the hype up, which they did not do a great job of. People just wanted Rebirth back. But the good news is that we have Rebirth back, and as you can see, we have Rebirth back moving forward. They're going to be doing that split with the playlist where some weeks are, Rebirth duos and it's Vanguard Resurgence quads, but, basically just play what you want to. When I'm going to be playing what's fun for me. So some weeks will be Rebirth. Basically, I'm going to be playing whatever I can drop high kill games in, which, by the way, if you're looking to drop high kill games, make sure you are subscribed with that notification bell turned on down below. I hope you found today's video helpful. Go dominate in Rebirth. Let's get better today, and I will see you tomorrow.